Just give me a second, please. Yes, I'm ready, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Last time we stopped at Ayah number 90, Surah Nisa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said in this Ayah, today inshallah, Ayah 91. ستجدون آخرين, you will find others, يريدون أن يأمنوكم, they want to be safe from you, ويأمنوا قومهم, and they want to be safe from their own tribe. كلما ردوا إلى الفتنة, whenever they go back to fitna, which is kufr. So the fitna here in this ayah, they say it's either kufr or racism. When their people, they ask them to stand up and support their tribe, they stand up with them even against the Muslims. This is the fitna. أركسوا فيها, they go back to it. فإن لم يعتزلوكم, and if they do not keep away from you, ويلقوا إليكم السلام, and they have peace with you, ويكفوا أيديهم, and hold their hand back from you. This means they do not stretch their hand with harm to you. فخذوهم, take them, واقتلوهم, seize them and kill them, حيث ثقفتموهم, wherever you find them. وأولئكم جعلنا لكم عليهم سلطانا مبينا, and these ones we made a clear authority for you over them. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said to the Muslims, there is another type of munafiqs or weak believers. We said this ayat talks about either munafiqs or weak believers, the one who their iman is not that strong. If they have peace with you and do not fight with you, then have peace with them, stop fighting them. But if they start becoming with the non-Muslims against you, then you have to fight them. Do not be confused about them. The ayah that comes after this, ayah 92. وَمَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ أَن يَقْتُلَ مُؤْمِنًا إِلَّا خَطَأً. And a believer cannot kill another believer on purpose, except by mistake. وَمَنْ قَتَلَ مُؤْمِنًا خَطَأً, and whoever kills a believer by mistake, فَتَحْرِيرُ رَقَبَةٍ مُؤْمِنَةٍ, then he should free a believing slave. وَدِيَةٌ مُسَلَّمَةٌ إِلَى أَهْلِهِ, and a blood money should be given to his family. إِلَّا أَن يَصَّدَّقُوا, except if they want to give it to you as a sadaqah. فَإِنْ كَانَ مِنْ قَوْمٍ عَدُوٍ لَكُمْ, and if such person who is killed, عليكم السلام, من قوم عدو لكم, from one of your enemies, وهو مؤمن, one of the people of your enemies, and that person is a believer, فتحرير رقبة مؤمنة, then you should free a believing slave. This is the second type. The third type, وإن كان من قوم, but if he was from a people, from like some group of people, بينكم وبينهم ميثاق, you have an agreement with them, you have a treaty with them. بينكم وبينهم ميثاق, فدية مسلمة إلى أهله, then a blood money should be given to his family. وتحرير رقبة مؤمنة, and freeing a believing slave. فمن لم يجد, and whoever cannot find this, فصيام شهرين متتابعين, let him fast 2 consecutive months. توبة من الله, this is tawbah from Allah. وكان الله عليما حكيما, and Allah always He is the most knowing of everything, and always He is the wisest. So this ayah actually it talks about like when a Muslim cannot kill another Muslim except by mistake. And they say the reason for this ayah to come down, that Ayah ibn Abi Rabi'ah, one of the mushriks, he used to punish him, torture him. So Ayyash, he put in his mind that this person, I'm going to kill him once I have like a chance. But this person who used to hurt him in Mecca, punish him in Mecca because he's a Muslim, he became also a Muslim. And Ayyash, he met him in a different place and then he killed him. And then he came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, Rasulullah, this is what happened and I didn't know that he is a Muslim. Then the ayah came down because of this incident. One time one person came to Rasulullah and he said, Rasulullah, I have to free a slave. Do you think that this young girl is a believing slave so I can free her? جاء رجل بأمة سوداء فقال يا رسول الله إن علي عتق رقبة عتق رقبة مؤمنة فإن كنت ترى هذه مؤمنة, if you see that a believing slave أعتقها, then I will free her. فقال لها رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, he said, you witness there is no God except Allah, أتشهدين أن لا إله إلا الله? قالت نعم, she said yes. قال أتشهدين أني رسول الله? He said, you believe that I'm Rasulullah? She said yes. قال تؤمنين بالبعث بعد الموت? He said, you believe in the next life after death? She said yes. قالت نعم. قال فأعتقها فإنها مؤمنة. Then the Prophet ﷺ, he said, free her. And it looks like this hadith is similar to the other hadith that a Sahabi came to Rasulullah. He said, you see that is a believing slave. And then he said to her, where is Allah? She said, in the sky, في السماء. قال لها أين الله? قالت في السماء. Then she said, in the sky. As Muslims who believe in whatever came in the Qur'an, like you have an ayah in the Qur'an, do not think about the being. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, never think about the being of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and always think about his powers, his qualities, because you're going to be destroyed if you think about the being of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the best way with the Muslims, just to comfort their heart, you believe in the ayah in the Quran, as Ibn Kathir he said, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ, there is none looks like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala whatsoever. وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٍ قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٍ. The ayah, very easy, all Muslims they know. So you stick to this and do not fall in the trap of the shaitan for whatever the agreement between the scholars. Anyway, the blood money, the blood money for a person you kill by mistake, it's usually like 100 camel or 1,000 dinar or 12,000 dirham, which is today like either 100 camel, exactly like it was during the time of the Prophet, or the 1,000 dinar, the scholars they say it's like 4 kilograms of gold and 250 grams. 4 kilograms and 250 grams. And if some woman somebody hit a woman and she's pregnant, and then that baby comes out, and then that baby comes alive and then die because of that hit, then the person has to give a ransom for this, like 213 grams of gold. Why we say this? Because this is happened during the time of the Prophet ﷺ. The blood money is never mentioned in the Quran, but it happened during the time of the Prophet ﷺ. This is how the Prophet ﷺ did with the person who was killed from Khaybar. And also one lady from Hudayl, she killed a woman, and that also had a baby. So both of them, they die. So the woman, she got her blood money, and the baby that she was carrying also, she got another, that amount that I said, 230 grams. They call it ghurra in the fiqh, in the Islamic fiqh. Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentioned sometimes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He talk about the blood money, He said, and if he was from a people that you have a treaty with them, then you need to give them the blood money before even freeing a slave. Allah subhanahu in all cases you have to free a slave no matter what. But when it happens, when there is some people, they are your enemies, they are fighting you. Not they are fighting you when they are fighting us, there is no we do not give them a blood money, we just give the free a slave. But if we have a treaty with some people, they are our enemies, we have a treaty with them, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said you need to give them the blood money before even freeing a slave. Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that? So we do not hesitate when we give the blood money for such people, because we have to respect our agreement. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, "Al-Muslimuna 'inda shurutihim." The Muslims, they go by their contracts. Whatever they made contract with, then they go by it. This is what the Prophet ﷺ said. Illa an Allah mentioned, except if the people of the deceased, of the person who is killed, they give sadaqah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the sadaqah here, so he's kind of urging the people to just give away this money, like make it like a sadaqah for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, tawbatan min Allah, if you don't have this money, usually if the person does not, like the person himself, like this is too much for one person. In Islam, if somebody kill another person by mistake, then this blood money is upon the person who killed by mistake, and also upon his family from his father's side. Why? Because too much. If we do this for the person only by himself, it's going to take all his money. Maybe will take away all his money. So we make the people who inherit him, they share also some part of this. And it does not happen overnight. Like we give, this blood money should be given in 3 years. Like we give them some time so they collect money, they do whatever to collect that money. The scholars, they say, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, if you do not have this blood money or freeing a slave, then you need to make tawbah by fasting 2 consecutive months. The scholars, they say, when the person, he make a mistake, there is no sin on him. Like there is no sin, like if you do something by mistake, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already, He forgive us. By why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it tawbah? They say, because when it comes to killing, then you have to investigate and be very sure. Like nobody can just go ahead and step and kill somebody by mistake. No, you have to make sure that because this is like a nafs, like this is a human being. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, you need to be very sure, make tawbah, because you did not take all the precautions not to kill such a person. وَمَنْ يَقْتُلْ مُؤْمِنًا مُتَعَمِّدًا, Ayah number 92 or 93. And whoever kills a believer on purpose, فَجَزَاؤُهُ جَهَنَّمْ, then his consequences will stay in the hellfire. خَالِدًا فِيهَا, stay there eternally. وَغَضِبَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ, and Allah has anger with him. وَلَعْنَهُ, and Allah will curse him. وَأَعَدَّ لَهُ عَذَابًا عَظِيمًا, and Allah prepared for him a tremendous torture, like a great punishment. Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas, he said this ayah is from the last ayat that came down in the Qur'an. So like the Qur'an came in 23 years, this ayah came in, he said, from the very last ayat that came in the Qur'an. This means Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas, he was of the opinion that the person who killed another person not by mistake, on purpose, because of this ayah, he said he will stay in Jahannam forever. But of course, he returned, they say that he returned back to from that fatwa, and all the scholars, they say even the person who kill another person on purpose, he will have a tawbah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if he make the tawbah. They only say if he reject killing another person on purpose, like he said, oh, it's not haram. to kill another person. Only in this case he will stay in the fire forever. Why? Even if he says أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أن محمد رسول الله. Why? Because he rejected what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Qur'an. وَمَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ أَن يَقْتُلَ مُؤْمِنًا إِلَّا خَطَأً. A believer cannot kill another believer except by mistake. So he's rejecting what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we reject anything that is mentioned in the Qur'an, not because of ignorance, because we know but you don't take it, then that person becomes a kafir. That's there is no argument about this. Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
So if there are two Muslims fighting against each other with a nation, does that count as killing each other on purpose?
No. Sometimes Muslims two Muslim countries, they fight each other. No, they are not doing it on purpose. They are doing it because either they are forced or they have ignorance. But they don't say we killed the other person and we are against the Quran. They don't say that. They did a mistake. It's a major sin to kill each other as Muslims. Very major sin, but not a kafir. Unless you say no, it is halal. If you say no, halal to kill that person, even if he's a Muslim, then in this case you are not a good Muslim. Then this punishment happened to that person. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا ضربتم في سبيل الله, or you who believe, when you fight in the cause of Allah, فتبينوا, then make sure make sure that you are not hitting the wrong person. ولا تقولوا لمن ألقى إليكم السلام لست مؤمنا, and do not say to those who say to you السلام عليكم, do not say to them you are not a Muslim. لست مسلما لست مؤمنا, you are not a believer. أتبتغون عرض الحياة الدنيا, are you looking for the benefits, the goods of the worldly life, the benefits of this dunya? فعند الله مغانم كثيرة, with Allah a lot of gains. كذلك كنتم من قبل, you used to be like this before. Like it means like you used not to be Muslims and you are in the same case. كذلك كنتم من قبل فمن الله عليكم, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he made a favor on you. فتبينوا, so make sure you are not killing the wrong person. إن الله كان بما تعملون خبيرا, Allah indeed he is expert with what you do. So this ayah, actually they say it came down because one of the some group of the Muslims, they passed by one person. He was having some sheep, and then he said, once he saw the Muslims coming, he said لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. And then the people, they thought that he's just saying that because he got scared of them. So one of them, he killed him. They say there was a problem between that Muslim and that, whatever the reason is. Muhallim, they say his name is Muhallim Juthama. He killed that person. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because of this incident, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down this ayah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking the Muslims to deal with the people with whatever they say to us. We do not know what's in the heart. So what if the people, they say we are Muslims, we just accept it. We do not go investigate about them. This is what this ayah says. Sometimes when Sayyidina Umar, he go send an army, and then he heard that some Muslims, sometimes they kill somebody who say ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. And then Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu ardah, he said, whoever whoever we catch killing a person who is saying ashhadu an la ilaha illallah anna Muhammad Rasulullah, then after he said it and then he killed him, then we will kill that person who killed him. So such incidents stopped. The ayah that comes after this, لا يستوي القاعدون من المؤمنين, those who are sitting from the believers, except to those who have a permanent disableness, like the people who are handicapped, for example, like they are blind, they have limby, they have disease that stop them from making jihad. لا يستوي القاعدون من المؤمنين, those who are sitting from the believers, except to those who have a permanent disablement, والمجاهدون في سبيل الله, and those who making jihad for the sake of Allah, بأموالهم وأنفسهم, with their money and themselves. فضل الله المجاهدين بأموالهم وأنفسهم على القاعدين درجة. Allah already preferred those who make jihad with their wealth and their own selves over those who are sitting from the believers. If I said I made a mistake, I said over those who are sitting from the believers. When it comes, this is what the ayah looks like. Because the literal translation, it tells you that those who are making jihad, they are better than those who are not making jihad. Just 1 degree. This is what like the literal translation here says. But when it comes to tafsir, by the way, this ayah, when it came down, Sayyidina Zayd ibn Thabit, he was writing this. He used to write to the Prophet ﷺ, and then he heard one blind person, Abdullah ibn Maktoum. He heard the ayah is being written, and without the word it says those, not those who have disablement. And then he come to Rasulullah, he said, Rasulullah, like I'm a blind person, and the ayat says those who make jihad, they are better than those who do not make jihad, and I'm a blind person, so is there anything for me? And then part of the ayah which it says not those except to those who have disablement, like have disease or whatever. Then it came down after he complained, that a blind person, Abdullah ibn Maktoum, he complained to the Prophet ﷺ. And by the way, Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Maktoum himself, they say that he was killed in Battle of Qadisiyah in the year 15 Hijrah, between Muslims and the Persians. While he was holding the flag of the Muslims, they tell him that you are a blind, Allah already make it easy for you. He said, no, I want to do anything to make the Muslims look big in number, look a lot in number in front of their own enemies. And he was killed while he was carrying that flag. Anyway, فضل الله مجاهدين بأموالهم وأنفسهم على القاعدين درجة. So this ayah belong actually to those who make jihad and those who are handicapped. درجة, only 1 درجة. وكلا وعد الله الحسنى, and Allah already promised the husna in the ayah means Jannah. وكلا وعد الله الحسنى, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already promised Jannah for those who are making jihad and those believers who are not making jihad. وفضل الله المجاهدين, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, again Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala repeat again, I'm not repeating myself, I'm repeating what the ayah says. وفضل الله المجاهدين على القاعدين أجرا عظيما, and Allah already preferred to those who make jihad for those who are sitting not in making jihad a great reward. This ayah, Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas, he said it belonged to the incident of Badr, because he said the time of Badr, it was not mandatory over the Muslims, all of them, to go and make jihad. He said it was only belong, it just happened, it came down because of those who make jihad. It was voluntarily at that time, but later on the war with the non-Muslims became a fard, like a must on them. But the Badr battle, it was not a must, it was volunteer, like volunteer fight with the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. درجات منه ومغفرة, degrees of rank from him, from Allah, ومغفرة, and forgiveness for those who are making jihad, ورحمة, and a mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا, and Allah always was forgiving for the believers. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he gave us a good like a good privilege to those who make jihad for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, إِنَّ فِي الْجَنَّةِ 100 درجة, in Jannah there is 100 degree. أعدها الله للمجاهدين, it's only for the mujahids, for those who make jihad for the sake of Allah. في سبيله, بين كل درجتين, between each degree, We are talking about the reward for the mujahids, not for all the Muslims. No, only we are talking about the mujahid only, those who make jihad for the sake of Allah. They have 100 degrees in Jannah. What is it? The Prophet ﷺ, he said, بين كل درجتين, between each degree of them, كما بين السماء والأرض, as what is between the earth and the sky. فإذا سألتم الله, and then the Prophet ﷺ, he said, when you ask Allah, فاسألوه الفردوس الأعلى من الجنة, then ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to go to make you enter the Firdaus. الفردوس, this is the highest place in Jannah. فإنه أوسط الجنة ومنه تفجر أنهار الجنة وفوقها عرش الرحمن. And the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the top of al-Firdaus. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of them. This hadith narrated by Imam Bukhari, by the way. The ayah that comes after this, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ تَوَفَّاهُمُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ, those, the angels, they take their souls at the time of their death. ظَالِمِي أَنفُسِهِمْ, while they are wronging themselves. قَالُوا فِيمَا كُنْتُمْ, they say, where were you? Like at the time of their death, those who were wronging themselves, they say, where were you? What happened? Like as we say to someone, what happened? Like how did you reach to that condition? فيما كنتم قالوا كنا مستضعفين في الأرض, they say, we were oppressed in the land. قالوا كنا مستضعفين في الأرض. قالوا ألم تكن أرض الله واسعة فتهاجروا فيها, they say to the angels, they say to them, wasn't the land of Allah big enough for you so you can make hijrah for the sake of Allah? فتهاجروا فيها فأولئك مأواهم جهنم وساءت مصيرا. Those ones, their final residence is Jahannam, and what a bad place it is. So the Imam Qurtubi, he said, these are not kafirs. He said these are Muslims, because of the ayat says they are wronging themselves. And the reason the angels, they question them, what make you reach to that condition of humiliation? Why you stay in that land? Like they were asking them. So this question itself means that these people, they are Muslims, as Imam Qurtubi, he said when he make explanation for this ayah. إلا المستضعفين من الرجال, except to those, عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته, إلا المستضعفين من الرجال, except to those who were weak from men, like whether somebody doesn't have the means, or somebody like old enough or have a permanent disease, whatever. من الرجال والنساء, and women, والولدان, and even the young kids. لا يستطيعون حيلة ولا يهتدون سبيلا. They do not find a way, and they do not find a plan to make hijrah for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he made an exception for those who do not make hijrah from the land of kufr to the land of Islam, except to those who do not have the means, whether they are poor, they don't have the money, or the women, or the young kids. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he made an exception for them. They will not enter Jahannam because they did not make such a hijrah. فَأُولَئِكَ, what will happen to them, O Allah? Such ones, عَسَى اللَّهِ, maybe Allah, أن يعفو عنهم, maybe Allah will forgive them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you say maybe, when it comes to a human being, it's a kind of like you are not sure. But and this is the person who is does not have all the qualities, all the qualifications. But when it comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, does not happen to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is above all this. He is very sure about what he knows. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he mentioned this, so the people, they know that not making hijrah from the land of kufr to the land of Islam, this is even it's a sin for such weak people, but still Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive them. So this is so the people who have the means to make hijrah for the sake of Allah, they feel bad about themselves. Why you did not make hijrah? عسى الله أن يعفو عنهم وكان الله عفوا غفورا. And Allah indeed is always forgiving, and He does not punish, and He does not like to punish. Subhanallah, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, al-muhajir ليس هجرة بعد الفتح. I forgot the hadith والله, but the meaning of the hadith that there is no hijrah after the fath of Mecca. We said this before. المهاجر من هجر ما نهى الله عنه. Like in our days, maybe the muhajir is the muhajir who desert what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made haram. But also some scholars, to be honest, so I don't make you feel good or bad, I just say what the scholars they say. They say there is whoever make an hijrah from the land of disobedience, the land that you feel you're weak, your iman is getting weaker and you are losing, and your religion is being decreased. They say that to a land that your religion is being increased, this is a hijrah for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Imam Zamakhshari, he was in Iraq, and Iraq is a Muslim land, and then he made hijrah to Mecca, and then he started. He's one of the best mufassirin actually when it comes to explaining the very minute, very detailed things about the Qur'an. And then he said he made hijrah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he stayed in Mecca. That's why they call him Jarullah, the neighbor of Allah. They call him the neighbor of Allah. And then he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his Tafseer to accept his hijrah for him, and he asked him to connect that hijrah to be connected in the akhirah with him in Jannatul Firdaus. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us real muhajir for his sake, inshallah, and make us have hijrah of all sins, inshallah. This is ayah number 99. Inshallah, next time we'll start ayah 100. وصلى اللهم وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.